As we look forward to 2026, it's hard not to look back on 2025. The year was one of heartbreak and hope in Siouxland, with moments that stopped us in our tracks and others that lifted us up when we need it the most. KTIV's Kaylee Doms takes a look back at Siouxland's biggest stories in 2025.
Over the last 365 days, we shared stories of lives lost and communities shaken by violence. But we also shared stories of resilience and inspiration. And through it all, one thing never changed: the strength of the people who call Siouxland home. In 2025, authorities in Yankton discovered the decapitated body of Heather Ann Bowden. Alfredo Castellanos Rosales was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of Jordan Beardshire. Carrie Jones was convicted and sentenced to life in prison for the quadruple homicide in Laurel. A blizzard created whiteout conditions and knocked down power lines. A derecho brought winds ranging from 60 to 100 miles per hour. A barge versus boat crash along the Missouri River left crews searching for a missing boater, eventually recovering his body 4 months later. A car was found submerged in the Missouri River. Days later, the body of a missing New Jersey man was found and identified. Unity Point Health St. Luke's acquired Mercy One Siouxland Medical Center. Sioux City Community Schools Superintendent Dr. Juan Cordova took a leave of absence, missing the first day of school. He was put on a second leave of absence in November. After more than a year of delays, Woodbury County's new law enforcement center continued to be met with lingering issues and lawsuits. Sioux City's Promenade Cinema closed after allegedly owing at least $65,000 in rent. A man was arrested for spray painting manhole covers, sparking overwhelming community feedback. A water main break led to a multi-home length street collapse. And hours after it was replaced, a man drove over the wet cement, causing $60,000 worth of damage. 3 members of the Remsen St. Mary's girls basketball team were seriously injured after their bus was involved in an accident on Highway 75. After more than 40 years, authorities charged a man with the 1983 murder of Terry Ann McCulley. A couple willed their farm to Kingsley Fire and EMS over 10 years ago, and this year the proceeds were put to use for their new fire station. Siouxland saw the most visible northern lights in recent history. Orange City, Milford, and Estherville played host to the 52nd annual RAGBRAI. Sioux City welcomed its first Raising Cane's. Western Iowa Tech launched its first on-air radio station. A historic A-7 bomber was restored and moved to Siouxland Freedom Park. Tanner Mackey beat a Guinness World Record at the Mighty Mo Run. Reverse trick-or-treating brought Halloween to kids with disabilities. A Vietnam veteran gave back to sick veterans in their time of need at Unity Point Health St. Luke's. 17-year-old Lily Wilford bought Papa Murphy's Pizza Shop, making her one of the youngest business owners in Siouxland. 10-year-old Bowen Rodman began playing sports after falling ill and becoming paralyzed. 7-year-old Wambly Dolezal of the Winnebago tribe in Nebraska brought his tribal traditions to a national stage at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And for the first time since 2010, Midwest Honor Flight took veterans on a flight out of Sioux City. From the darkest moments that demanded justice to the brightest ones that gave us hope, these stories didn't just make headlines, they shaped us. One thing remains clear: Siouxland is strong. Kaylee Doms, KTIV News 4.